This is The Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral.com.
There it goes. I was punching the wrong buttons on one, and I was punching on two, and you're on one today.
We will learn the board.
All right, yeah, we will learn the board. Welcome in. This is the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central, BamaCentral.com, right here in the Derek Daniel State Farm Studios, just off McFarland Boulevard. Oh my gosh, we are live. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're here back with our friend Mason Woods. Mason enjoying himself a nice little vacation yesterday. How was Cancun?
It was wonderful.
Excellent.
It's right over there on Veterans Memorial Parkway. If you're 15th Street, if you're on that side of the McFarland, at a big orange building. It was wonderful. The beach was nice and warm.
Excellent. We're going to have a whole lot of fun here with Mason Woods. You follow Mason at MAWoods_ on the Twitter machine. This is the Joe Gaither Show. You guys are with us on the phone line at 205-462-7340, extension 800. You can call the phone line right now. We are live. The voicemail line's always open. We do have a voicemail to play for you. Thank you for the caller who left us a voicemail yesterday afternoon. Love you so much. Leave us a voicemail, 205-462-7340, extension 800 when we are not on the air. We're going to have a lot of fun today. Oh, my gosh. It's busy today, Mason. We're in the Derek Daniel State Farm Studios. You call Derek for your insurance needs at 205-758-3391. Red, Reese, and Victoria, they're already upstairs. They're waiting to take your phone call. They're waiting to deal with your issue. I know something happened with your car last night. Something happened in your home last night. You need to make sure that your insurance agent is on it. Derek Daniel and his team are on it. You can call them 205-758-3391 for all of your insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, Derek Daniel is there. Call and see how much Derek can save you today. Mason, I missed you yesterday. We spent time with Theodore Fernandez, and we talked about Alabama basketball, Alabama, Kentucky. We really didn't talk about anything else. There were other topics that I wanted to get into, but things are going to stack up on us pretty fast today because we need your thoughts on Alabama, Kentucky. We got to get into Alabama and Mississippi State. That's happening tonight. That's the next benchmark. But I can't really move on past the baseball flipping the bird. We teased that yesterday and never got into it.
I need it on a T-shirt. I need it so badly on a T-shirt.
Yes, except the problem is the university, basically the powers that be, poo-pooed on Riley Quick. It's Riley, not Pierce. Pierce is the brother. Riley, and obviously he put out a nice little apology. This doesn't represent us. It was a locker room moment. We're sorry. And it was classy apology. Great. Why don't we start right there? Perfect. Welcome into the show. You can comment at Joe Gaither 6, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. You can leave us a phone voicemail, 205-462-7340, extension 800. We'll start there. Then we'll circle back to basketball. Sunday, actually, Alabama baseball goes down 10-0 in the Jacks Classic to Ohio State. They've already won their first two games, but then they just battle all the way back, and it's Will Hodo that hits a walk-off home run. Will Hodo, Tuscaloosa's own, right? Isn't he Northridge High School?
I think so.
Tuscaloosa's own. We're going to say that until Mason confirms it. But he smacks a daddy smack over. No?
Mississippi native.
Dang, I thought he was.
I don't know why I thought that also.
I thought he was Northridge. My bad. It smacks a home run over the fence to win.
Drilled it.
They walked off 12-10. They go undefeated in Jacksonville. And the boys go into the locker room as young men do. And they take if you haven't seen the photo, I tweeted it, but then deleted it because I felt bad because I didn't want Riley Quick to be.
You can find it.
Right.
Let's just say that.
Yeah. It's the baseball team giving the bird to the camera. That's all it is. There's nothing that's not even really that juicy. Like I'm not going to pretend like, I'm clutching my pearls.
Yeah,
they're all, a couple of them are shirtless as you would be in a locker room, but like there's literally nothing to it there's no.
Wasn't like
we're waving our dicks around,
burning Ohio State memorabilia or something and stomping on it.
Right. There was no, we're all doing gyrating motions, we're doing this, we're doing that. No, it was just, we're standing here. All our faces look stone cold. We're looking dead at the camera like bleep you. But yeah, it's the bird to the camera. it doesn't even get tweeted. Look, it gets put on Snapchat,
Yes.
which is kind of. Well, Mason, I'll ask you: where do you view Snapchat in the hierarchy of? Oh, I'm posting this on social media.
I mean, I think it's if you are posting it there, typically your intention is to have that be shared with really your kind of close friends and acquaintances who. I don't know. Maybe this is just the way that I use the app. I do not have really anybody added or in my like friends list on there that I don't know pretty well personally, because it's not like the same as an Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, whatever, where you're just kind of following people and so on. Like it is strictly for like messaging people back and forth. So, I imagine he kind of put that out with the thought that, okay, my friends and, maybe some of my close people that I know will see this and they'll think it's funny, whatever. But unfortunately, someone takes the screenshot and it gets shared out, which, I mean, you probably should have known that was going to happen, Mr. Quick. But again, I hate this fake, like, aura of, oh, we're in sports we all act so classy and we have sportsmanship and no one trash talks you. Like we all just pretend like these people aren't out there trash talking for 9 innings. I guarantee every time one of those kids hits a ball, he is looking that pitcher down, he's making some sort of comment, throwing a little jab over there, and same goes every time that pitcher strikes one of Alabama's players out. Or so it's just, I don't know why we pretend that sports are this bastion of like classiness where nobody gets to say anything to anyone. And, oh, you posted a picture where you held the middle finger up. How disgusting. Like, it's just like ridiculous, man. I hate it. It's very, feels very performative to me.
Well, Mason, like maybe I am callous to it, or maybe I'm just not as prim and proper. But even as a kid, when I was a young kid, I can remember my thoughts around the bird. I can remember, oh, somebody gave the bird, and I can remember being what 8, 7, 8, 9, 10, and people, and like the older crowd. If you give me the bird, I'm gonna be so angry, like losing their brains. Yeah. Like it's a really like you just spit in their mother's face. I never saw it that way because hey, buddy, you're in your car. You're mad at something, and like, that finger doesn't really do anything to me. Now I don't totally get. Hey, I'm going to give you the bird because you made. I understand that, but it's never been like if you give me the bird, I'll be okay. I'm sorry.
I probably had it coming.
I upset you. You're upset about something.
Sure.
Like, but. And maybe my therapist would probably say, Joe, you don't respect yourself enough. You don't love yourself enough. But I just don't care. If you give me the bird, I'm just going to be like, whatever,
It's not going to bother me one bit. I do think that, maybe younger people, like it's the use of it has maybe changed a little bit into just like more of a casual, almost greeting sometimes.
Oh, it's like thumbs up in a lot of ways.
Yes. You throw it up in pictures and things, and it's kind of it is kind of like a peace sign or a thumbs up now.
I go on jogs, when when joggers pass me is what I should say. I just, that's all, because I'm deep in my pain. I just get thumbs up and I just I don't even look at them. But it'd be like that.
It's I don't know. It's very it's
the bunny ears. You remember the 6-year-old
Sure.
who, bunny ears on everybody. They think it's funny, and the mom and dads are slapping their hands away, like, "Be serious, Johnny."
It's very strange. I don't know. I guarantee if anyone on the Ohio State baseball team or anywhere over there saw this picture, they were like, "Yeah, whatever. We shouldn't have lost. It is what it is."
They're more. I promise you, they're more upset with whatever happened, losing the 10-run lead than a photo. I promise.
Sure. It's just very, very strange for. It feels like a lot of people who shouldn't have any opinion on this matter are making these decisions and things like, they're making these pictures be removed and making people all act all buttoned up and everything. When in reality, these are 18 to like 23-year-old kids who are at the peak of their like competitive primes, are battling for a game. Like things are going to get a little heated. It happens. It's part of sports. I hate so much that as a society, we try to like pretend that aspect doesn't exist when that's the part everybody loves. If we're being really honest, we want to see blood. We want to see a conflict.
You had a lot of people I'm sorry to say this, but the olds on the social media, suspension. Oh, not representing the A. Oh, you're disrespecting the brand. I mean,
I want other teams to look at the Alabama A and remember that. Oh man, they came back 10-0 against Ohio State and then FU'd on Snapchat. That's what I want other teams to think about. That's what I want other schools to think about. I don't want them to think, oh, the university with their red brick and fancy sidewalks and big bell tower. That's so lame.
That's how you become Vanderbilt.
Yeah, that's
is it not?
So lame.
It's like
chimes.
Right. That sounds like Cornell and Brown and
We are
Princeton.
not. That is not what we are. I understand this is an academic institution, but let's be honest, folks. Sports come first. That's what everybody cares about.
I mean, you want the team that fights, don't you? You want the team that doesn't give up, don't you?
Yes.
You want the team that we never say
team.
die. Well, that's what you get with that team. That in order to have a gritty team, you need a little bleep you in that team. You need a little bit of that infused in them. So I don't know what this baseball team will be yet. What are they, 8-0 so far? We're going to figure that out. We're all going to watch them together. That's part of the fun of it. I'm not sure what they will be, but it definitely seems like they have embraced a bit of weird disrespected. You saw, they haven't been ranked. I'm pretty sure they're still not ranked. D1 baseball put them at 24.
25 or 24, yeah. And I think I saw on Twitter yesterday.
Great.
But still, 8-0 with now what? You had big wins this week in Ohio State, and what was
NC State was the other one. I don't know what the third one was. Was it Coastal Carolina? You maybe check look at that. But really, they're playing Tennessee Tech today. They're playing Tennessee Tech today, 4:30 over at the Joe. And look, the weather's perfect. I would get out if you're not doing anything. Go see a little basketball, then bounce on over. You go see a little baseball, then bounce on over to basketball. Make it a whole gumping Tuesday. I think this baseball team might be good. Might be exciting enough to whether they're national championship quality or not. We don't know, and I don't know. I'm not smart enough to say. They definitely through 2 weeks look exciting enough to. I want to pay attention to this team.
Yeah, NC State was the number 12 team in the country, and you 4-0'd them this weekend. So
you beat some good teams. And you give me something to talk about, I'm going to follow you.
Yeah,
I don't pop that bird up every weekend if that's what it takes.
I'm here for I'm here for this baseball team. It seems like I think this weekend was really kind of the litmus test of like, all right, you beat up on Bradley, you beat up on Alabama State, but now you're playing some real teams, and they passed the test with flying colors.
So we're going to see 4:30 today, right? 4:30 today at the Joe. They're playing. Well, if you're there at 4:30, you're going to miss the first inning. 4 p.m. at the Joe, Tennessee Tech. And we're going to have Will Miller. Will Miller will be taking all the coverage for you.
Jacksonville State.
Where did I get Tennessee? Is that Vanderbilt? That's what Vanderbilt's playing them tonight. Oh, my gosh. All my Vanderbilt coverage getting in the way.
When I tell you, I see, I'll see a recruit's name, and I'll be like, I remember he did something there, and I'll get it and start getting it. And then I remember, oh, wait, he actually did something with the other school that we cover. And you got to completely reconfigure everything you've written up to that. Yeah, that happens, but we love it.
Jacksonville State.
4:00. The Gamecocks.
On Tuesday at the Joe, right off University Boulevard. All right, we're there. We're there now. We're there now. Jacksonville State.
I used to have a really good Jacksonville State hat that just said JSU Cox. Is a good hat. I lost it a long time ago, though.
An uncle on the opposite side of the family who has passed away now was a big-time Jacksonville State booster. So we got a little affinity for Jacksonville State in our household.
She was 1 credit short of graduating. She never went back and did it. Don't know why. She never did.
Had a family to make.
Who knows?
Got to go get married and have some babies.
I guess I can't blame her. My grandpa was a nice fella.
Yeah.
Aaron's a nice fella.
Oh, Mason, we're running tight on time, and I want to keep it moving. I want to move into your thoughts on the Kentucky game. We heard from Theo yesterday. We chatted about it a lot. I'll just throw out some bullet points of what we talked about. We talked about Mark, and I said you need the offensive performance that he's given you over the two games because maybe that makes up for the defense. We commiserated over Grant Nelson's poor performances. We praised Cliff Amore. What else did we do? We laughed at Mark Pope for crying about the officials. Theo was shooting the game for WVUA, so he was on the court, and he was able to tell us that Otega Owe was very unhappy with the officials the entire game. He said, he said using language that I cannot say on this show.
That's where I want to
So
start.
go for it. Yeah, I mean, Alabama beats Kentucky 96-83. You were out yesterday. What do you think?
Alabama dominates Otega Owe. I mean, the man did nothing. He couldn't find any success in that game, and that was the most impressive thing to me. Obviously, that was Kentucky's big score coming in. You thought I think he had a big game last time they played, and you kind of expected the same thing this time because Alabama can't stop anyone on defense. But they locked in on Otega Owe. Now, Kobe Bray got his, Andrew Carr got his, but I think overall I was extremely happy with this team's performance. This was exactly the kind of performance they needed. I still would have liked to see even better defense, but I think they made a lot of steps in the right direction. Now, whether or not that is more indicative of just Kentucky as a team, I don't know. I think it may be a little bit, but I was happy with this weekend. I was really, it gave me a lot of hope. I was down in the dumps a little bit after that Missouri game, really thinking this team had kind of just fallen off a cliff, and that one. This weekend kind of brought me back thinking, all right, they can still make a run. They can still make a run. This was impressive win.
Yeah, I went from complaining about the defense in the first 5-6 minutes to okay, you're defending a little bit. Let's see how this keeps going and plays on out. It was. I think more about Kentucky than Alabama.
Yeah, I didn't want to say, I didn't want to go there, but when, just as a program, when does beating Kentucky stop to really mean is what it did? Because it kind of seems like now it's like, all right, I think we can just kind of say Alabama's a better basketball team than Kentucky. They should beat Kentucky.
Yeah, as a program right now, they absolutely are a step ahead. I don't think beating Kentucky you lose the luster ever.
I mean, the history and everything that comes with Kentucky.
You're blue blood. Anytime you beat a blue blood, which by the way, I know it's Preston Murphy's thing, this new blood, but I don't like that.
I kind of do like the new blood thing.
Okay, finally Mason and I will disagree. I don't like it because don't crown ourselves is my thought. What do you like?
I see where you're going there, and I don't necessarily fully disagree with that point. But just whether it's not, it's a cool nickname. I do think it's kind of cool. The whole, we don't want to be part of your white glove society with your blue bloods. We're the new bloods. We're Alabama. We're coming here to F it up. I do like that aspect of it, but I understand also the whole. We haven't won anything yet, so maybe wait to call yourself a new blood.
We're doing double birds and hard hats in the locker room.
That's what we need. I need a picture of Mo D flipping double birds.
Be like
with his hard hat award on
at Riley Quick. We got you.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Just be like, we don't care.
And then the women's team does it,
right?
And then the gymnastics team.
So
I need every team to do it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what needs to happen. Everybody needs to band together behind Riley Quick instead of leaving him on an island as he embarrassed us, whatever the case may be. Do it into team photos and make it into like the Crimson Crane and make it into like the Langsing symbol.
The olds would lose their mind. The white hairs wouldn't be able to. They would lose it.
Can you just picture the Alabama social media like sphere, the people?
The Facebook pages,
right? Oh. You're gonna have like you're gonna have your 33s and unders all going to social media, giving the bird in their Alabama gear, be like, "Yeah, Riley Quick, roll tide." They're all gonna be all about it, and then you're gonna have your 33s to 50s that don't do anything at all. They're just like, "What?
Whatever."
And then your 50s and up are all just
the downfall of society. No, that would be great. I would love to see that catch on. So if for all of you Alabama athletes that are listening to the show,
I mean, they know Riley.
Yeah,
they all saw what happened. I think that'd be fun.
I think it would be good. It would be good.
Maybe it wouldn't be very becoming of the athletic department, but I think it'd be fun.
It would be so good. Oh, but
what was I doing?
We're talking about this game a little bit. I do want to mention Mark Sears because that was something he threw out at me, and I think
so
I think he hit the nail on the head. because I think we had touched on it too, where it was like, Mark Sears, you're allowed to not play defense if you score 35 a night. And hey, he's done that the last 2 games. So I can't really take anything away from him. Mark, you are allowed to not play defense if you do score 35 a night.
No one's allowed to not play defense.
Within reason. He tries. He's just not very good at it. You are allowed to be bad.
But you better give me that 30.
Sure. And he did. But you better keep it up, Mark. Hey, you better. I need a lot of points from you if we're going to see defensive effort that we've seen. I understand Otega Oweh didn't do much. That was not through many of your efforts. But hey, you gave me 30.
I just think
can't complain.
If the defense is going to be at C+, C
minus.
If it's going to be that, well, buddy, you better be giving me some offense on the other end without the turnovers, which you've been doing. On Saturday, very efficient, very, very efficient game on Saturday.
He was great,
perfect, as perfect as it gets.
Chris Youngblood was great.
Well, late he was. It took him a while to get into it, but yes, late.
Would have liked to see a little more from Sherrell. He's getting his minutes though. I just think, I think it's there. I think he just needs an extended period of time on the court where it's like, oh, we're up by 10. Throw Sherrell out there, let him play the last 8 out, and just see how he works. I think he's just got to get his feet wet.
All right, big game tonight against Mississippi State. Let's listen to our voicemail line before we talk about it.
Hey, Joe, this is JD Zaza from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. My question for your show is, were you surprised that Alabama baseball was not ranked in the top 25 after winning the Jacksonville Classic, especially in the way they did? Keep up the great work on the show, and best of luck to you. Thanks.
That's my man, JD.
So I must have not seen that they were ranked.
Because, I think that
they are not.
There's 5. What is there? 4 different baseball polls, 5 different baseball polls.
I am seeing that information. Yes.
So it just depends on which poll you're looking at. So I'm not. I know that there was a lot of backlash online yesterday that they weren't ranked, and then there was a lot of backlash that they only got ranked. What was it, 24 or 25 in some polls?
Yeah, Baseball America has them at 25.
Great.
And then the other one I just
D1
read,
Baseball.
Yep, D1 Baseball did not even have them as one of the teams getting like votes.
Sorry, D1 Baseball, you're wrong.
Yeah,
I mean, I know that you cover baseball way more than I do.
No, you're wrong though. We know
that one's pretty much.
If there's one thing we know, it's ball. And you're wrong, D1 Baseball.
They're definitely in the I mean, okay, nobody cares that you beat Bradley. I get that. Sure. I don't care that you beat Bradley. I don't. Great job, Rob Vaughn, but I don't.
If you couldn't tell, we didn't talk about it on this show.
Not 1 second. But I do care that you look. It's one thing to go over to Jacksonville and go 3-0. Great, awesome. I'm not going to pretend like they're going to be national champions. Sure. It's the resiliency. Mm-hmm. Because I'll just speak for myself, Mason. If you put me down 10-0, I'm just counting down the outs at that point. All right, 27 more outs until we're out of here. 23 more outs until we're out of here. 21 more outs until we're out of here. 18.
I know that feeling all too well. Played for a really bad baseball team.
No, I am just and. Yes, Joe, you got to get more mentally tough for sure. You're a mental weakling. You need to buck up, buckaroo.
That's what kept us from Division I sports.
Exactly, and yes, for sure. But for these young men, 10-0.
Whatever.
All right, get the shovels out.
Yeah,
get the shovels out. Start digging and dig away like that to me, and not dig away against a Bradley against And I'm not going to pretend like Ohio State's going to win a national championship, but they're a quality team. I'm sorry. I'm just impressed by that. I'm just really impressed by it. Justin LeBron, 2 home runs in that game, and then Will Hodo to finish it off. And maybe this is my crimson-colored glasses, but I am impressed by that.
I saw the question posed on Twitter, and I don't know that we really have time to get into it today. Maybe we can tomorrow more. Is Justin LeBron, of any athlete currently at the University of Alabama, is he going to be the highest draft pick of any of them?
Draft pick, because he's going to be in the top 10 of the MLB draft,
if not top 5, from what I've seen some people say.
Right. So it just depends on.
I mean, I'm looking at Keelan Russell. I think I'm looking at Ryan Williams.
Okay. I was just thinking about right now because he's getting drafted this next year.
I'm talking about on campus here.
No. because Keelan Russell's getting drafted like number 1, number 2.
Likely. But I saw, I think there could potentially.
Ryan Williams is getting drafted in the top 5 also.
Probably. What if he goes 1-1 though? Justin LeBron.
I think he's incredible.
I obviously the entirety of my baseball content I consume is mostly centered around Alabama. So take that as you will with a big grain of salt. But it certainly seems like he is touted as being one of the best players in the country, one of the best players overall in this draft class, and will probably be a top 3, top 5 pick. Maybe he is top, the 1 overall.
All the more reason to spend your $2 today at 4 o'clock to see them play Jacksonville State. I mean, people talking about, I'll go when they win. Well, buddy, they're winning. People, this fan base supports a winner.
Sure. Any fan base supports a winner.
Sure. Your soccer team goes to the Final Four a couple years ago. Boom, you get fans in the stands. Be ahead of the curve. This team is probably going to be successful, at least in terms of what success means.
Show up now. That way, when the World Series rolls around, you get to make fun of everybody for being bandwagons. And you get to be on your high horse. I watched this team from opening day when they beat Bradley.
I was there.
That could be you.
I was in the stands. Mason Woods. Let's move into tonight. Alabama's taking on Mississippi State. That's not really what I want to talk about, though. I want to talk about, oh my gosh, when will we ever learn? What do I need to look at? I want to look at Tuscaloosa news, sports. Let's find what I'm looking for yesterday. Is that what gets put out yesterday? I don't even know where to find this because this website is a lot of fun. Actually, I do know where to find this.
I know, yeah. Shame on you, our friends over at Tuscaloosa News. We do love you. We appreciate what you do over there, and we respect what you do, I think.
Do we love them?
I think we respect some of what they do. Maybe not love. Maybe love is the wrong word. Respect is maybe the right word. But this was a tough one. This was a tough one for OT News. As we have discussed many, many times on this show, they made I don't even know how to put it, a grave error when discussing this Alabama basketball team. A faux pas.
I don't even know where to find this young lady's article. That's okay. Emily Smar. I don't want to short you, but Emily Smar is the new writer for Tuscaloosa News for basketball, and new is in quotation. She's been doing it since the start of the year. New as in the start of the year.
I've got it pulled up here.
Will you just DM it to me because my Google is going nuts, so I can read it. Thank you very much for finding it. Emily Smart. So she's been on the job for 4 months roughly. All right, no problem. You're not from around here. That's okay. I'm not from around here either. I'm not going to sit here. Thank you very much, Mason. I'm not going to sit here and act like that's a requirement to cover any of these teams or to do this job. It's not. She's writing this article is from Tuscaloosa News. Alabama basketball versus Mississippi State. Score prediction, picks, injury, and updates. Yep. That's who I want right there. Yes, perfect. Injury and update is, come on, join us. We're about to have a lot of fun. We're talking a little basketball, and we're going to have some fun. I got a spot for you right here. Right there. It's perfect. We're about to have a little fun with the Alpha Alexander Lincoln. But we're going to finish up talking about this basketball team and talking about the game tonight. Basically, what caught my eye, Mason, is Emily writes the line. You write you give yourself away, Miss Emily. You give yourself away. Where is it? About 3/4 of the way down?
Me and my soul
brain is just awful. Where are we at? There we go. 3/4 of the way down. The Crimson Tide lives and dies by the 3, and another 15 for 31 night from deep that helped Alabama survive on the road certainly wouldn't hurt at home against Mississippi State, who allows opponents to shoot 36% from 3.
Drives me up the wall. It's just, and we don't want to rain on your parade, but it is just, and we've talked about it. It is a categorical misunderstanding of this system. You just, if you feel that way, if you think that way, you just aren't watching what's happening and you're not grasping what's going on in front of you.
Right. Do some legwork.
Like, come on. We've talked about it. Nate Oates told us he has laid it out for us. He showed us the numbers. He gave us the math. He gave it in simple arithmetic for you people. We broke it down like a first grader.
Like many times.
God, just watch the press conferences. He tells you what they're doing.
And of course, you like to shoot threes. Like that is obvious.
Yes.
But you look under the hood. The numbers show you that you're scoring from two. You're scoring from the rim at what 60-70% is about the number this year. And your top 10 team in the country is scoring in the paint. Like, let's just back up 2 seconds. If Alabama was living and dying by the three, you're not making anything at the paint. All right, great. So we're throwing that out there. If you, Mason, while I rant, look up what the team's shooting from three this year. I'm going to guess it's at 30. I'm going to guess it's at 32%. You can find that on Roll Tide, Team Stats, season wide. I'm going to guess it's at 32%. If you get this team, if you get
34.
Okay, perfect. You get it up to 40, like an actual good 3-point shooting team would be at 40%.
Sure.
Like, okay, and we're talking minuscule percentage points, but those percentage points math out throughout the entire year to lots of points. Mm-hmm. Like, you're already, you've lost 4 games this year, 5 games this year, 5. You lost 5 games this year, and you've been beating you've been beating teams handily. And you've been shooting so bad from 3 all year.
It's just like this has been one of the best teams in the country.
Drives me nuts.
You don't know what's happening if you feel that way. They do not live and die by the three.
Live by the three, you die.
They live and die by getting the ball inside and getting to the free throw line.
The 3-pointers are the cherry on top. They're the whipped cream of this banana split, baby. Like, it's not the meat and the potato. It's the side items.
Sure. It's just, it drives me up a wall hearing that.
All right, so we're on Tuesday. We're in Coleman Coliseum tonight. We're playing Mississippi State at 6 or 8. We're playing we're at 8 tonight. Gross. Have your coffee. ESPN2, Alabama 8.5-point favorite. 8 o'clock in Coleman Coliseum. Our friends Katie Wyndham, Hunter DeCiver. Hunter, happy birthday to you. Hunter DeCiver, Katie Wyndham, and Will Miller will be covering the game for us. We'll talk about it more tomorrow. Mason and I will break it down. Mason, before we move off this topic and get into a little fun, what do you think? Give me a final score. Josh Hubbard goes for 48 points for Mississippi State. Just kidding.
Josh Hubbard gets the Otega-Oweh treatment tonight.
Okay.
He gets shut down. I'm going to go Alabama 92, Mississippi State 81.
92-81. That's not too bad. We like that. I'll take them to get over the 100 mark. I'll go 102-79. 102-77. I think it's probably going to be. I think the defensive emphasis will be permeating through the roster.
That would make me feel a little better. Continue to feel better about this team.
All right, Mason, why don't you flip my cameras around? I will go ahead and start talking about Derek Daniel and State Farm. We're live in the Derek Daniel State Farm studios. You can find us off of McFarland Boulevard, just past the Tiger Rock on the left, past the Rustic Rehab on the left. We're going to have, we have fun each and every day. Come find us up here. You can call him Derek Daniel and his team, 205-758-3391. You need a local insurance agent. Look, things are going to go wrong in your life. That stinks, but it's just the truth. You need a local insurance agent who can help you, and make sure that you are squared away and to get you back on the road or get your house back in order. Home, life, auto insurance. Derek Daniel can take care of you. Give him a call at 205-758-3391. Give him a call and tell him that the Joe Gaither Show told you to call him. You can call him 205-758-3391. Like a good neighbor, Derek Daniel is there. Call and see how much Derek can save you today. All right, Mason, you can flip perfect. Zoom that in a little bit for me. We're looking right there. And we're joined right here in the studio, live. Look, y'all know we like wrestling on the show. Elimination Chamber coming up on Saturday. We'll get to that on Friday just a little bit. But we're here to talk about New Era Wrestling. The Crimson Clash is coming to Tuscaloosa March 16th. Oh, my gosh. I've driven across the South. I went to Nashville twice in the last 6 months for a show. I went to Atlanta once in the last couple of months for a show. You don't have to go that far. You can be right here. Buddy Powell Pavilion, which is like 8 minutes from where I'm sitting right here, and you can see professional wrestling, new era professional wrestling. We're joined live in the studios by the Alpha, Alexander Lincoln. You can join that. Let me make sure the microphone gets popped on. Tell everybody hello, and let's see if that's on.
Hello.
Yeah, perfect. We're going to talk right into it. We're going to talk into it like we love it. Perfect. There we go. You'll look right there, and I'll look right there, and we'll have a great time. Can you hear him?
Yep.
I cannot hear him. What's going on in my head? Keep going, Alex.
Hear me now.
Yeah. Perfect. We're gonna stick that right up in your mouth.
How's that?
Yeah, that's better.
Sounds good.
I bet you it's in my ear. I bet you it's in my ear. That's probably the problem. All right, perfect. Well, I'm excited to have you because I am a little bit of a wrestling nerd. I did fall asleep on Monday Night Raw last night. I went out with a buddy and turned on and fell asleep to it. So I didn't finish last night's episode. But we're not here to talk about Monday Night Raw. Goodness gracious, there's professional wrestling in Alabama.
Yeah, there is. We've been new era. I've been there since I think I debuted there in 21. And so I think they were there a couple years before me. So it's in Walker County, Jasper, Alabama. And I think late last year we did a show in Hoover. And then so this will be our first one in Tuscaloosa. So we're really excited about it. It's something we've been talking about for a while to try to hit other markets. And I think, pro wrestling's kind of made a comeback the last, 3, 4, 5 years, whatever. And it's never been a better time to be a wrestler. And it's never been a better time to be a fan. I've got 2 young boys, 11 and 6, and they love it. And so, yeah, it's a great time. We're really excited for Tuscaloosa to have a show, and we hope that we can make it a more regular occurrence.
Oh, I'm really excited to have you here, and I'm definitely going to be out at the show. For the folks who are wanting to get out to the Buddy Powell Pavilion, it's on March 16th, the Crimson Clash, New Era Wrestling. So it's just about 3 miles away from where we're sitting right here. And you're getting in the ring with a big old name or someone that seems dangerous. How are we feeling about an ECW legend? Are you up on your doctor's bills? Are you up on all your medical? Is that checked out? How are we feeling about that? Rhino coming to town.
I went to the chiropractor yesterday and the Monday before that because I'm 40, so I'm not a spring chicken at all. And so I try to make sure that I'm taking care of my body. But yeah, no, I'm excited about the opportunity. I've had the chance to wrestle a couple of, depending on how big of a wrestling fan you are, legendary Larry D. He was on TNA wrestling for a while. I wrestled him in November, and I won that match. And I wrestled Kerry Morton.
I saw that one.
You go back in time, the Rock and Roll Express.
Oh yeah.
So Kerry's his son, and Kerry's like almost 18 years younger than me or something. Like he was like just a freak in the ring. It was everything I could do to keep up with him. So. I've had some experience with guys like that, but nobody, Rhino is a former ECW world champion, NWA world champion, and so on. I mean, just anything.
Original SmackDown tag team titles.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. With Heath Slater. And, he was in that original ECW run where it was just, those guys were just crazy. So, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little, there's always a little bit of nerves going in there. But I am excited for the opportunity in my hometown. It's my son's birthday. It's a big day. It's a lot. It's kind of everything that I have trained for and hoped for when I started on this road, kind of culminating, I hope. So we'll see. Okay, so you said you started professional wrestling in 2021. Right. How does a match with Rhino come together in 4 years? I mean, obviously training. The little that I know about the industry is you got to train for a long time before you even have your first match. So how does it culminate the steps from 2021 to we're wrestling Rhino in our hometown? Well, and if I ramble, no, please, I'm listening. I'm nerding out right now. So I don't care. Like I love our listeners, but this segment's for me. I'm nerding out right now. So you're doing great. So I think it was in 2019.
Okay, I
was on a road trip back from the beach with my wife, and so I'm like you. I've been a fan my whole life, and I think one of the I became a big believer. I'm a big fan of Chris Jericho. And
you're on the list.
Yeah. and I've read all his books. I listen to his podcasts. Obviously, he's been wrestling my whole life. But I always admire about him the fact that, he was a pro. He wanted to be a wrestler. He became a wrestler. He wanted to be a rock star. He became a rock star. He wanted to be an author. He became an author. He wanted to be a podcaster. And so the thing I take away from him is like, find the things you want to do and find ways to do them, you know? And so I think when I made this decision, I was 35 and, you know, told my wife, I was like, look, I just want to try this. I don't know. It was really more of a bucket list item to try. I want to have a match. I really, the visual or the vision for me was that sensation of being in the ring, pinning the other guy and hearing the 3 count and the crowd counting with it. You know, that was kind of just, that was my vision.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you're correct about the training. I mean, I think I trained for 15 months before I was able to have a match. And then I had my first match in January of 20 at Pro South Wrestling in Piedmont, Alabama, which is another great promotion. They have weekly shows. They stream live on YouTube. But then that was January 20. So COVID was right around the bend, and that kind of
snaps you real quick.
Shut everything down for a little while. So I made my re-debut after that at New Era in, I think, July of 21 against Darnell, Washington. And it was my first match, and I won that match. It was a 4 or 5 minute match, and quickly realized that the idea of doing it just once was not really going to cut it. I mean, it was there was more, and so I started there, and really that was really where the training began when you start, because there's really no substitute for being in there and having a match and all that comes with it, because not only are we doing a physical show in the ring for you, but there's just so much more. There's the crowd, there's the entrance, there's so much that goes into trying to get the people behind you. And so that's kind of it took 4 years finally to get to a point where to wrestle a real name, a big name in pro wrestling. And so and I've had tag matches, I've had a casket match on Halloween, which was pretty cool. I've had a chain match. I've had a table match. I've had a last man standing match. Actually, last brother standing with my brother, which is we could do a show on that probably. So I've had the opportunity to have these experiences that I just never thought were possible for me, and so New Era really made it possible. Bubba Cagle he trained me. He wrestles as well, but he's also the owner and promoter, he and James Phillips, and they really gave me this opportunity to do something I've always wanted to do. So I don't know if that answers.
Oh, absolutely. Let's reset here on New Era Wrestling, where all our shows are in Jasper, and obviously we're coming to Tuscaloosa March 16th, the Crimson Clash. We're going to see the Alpha Alexander Lincoln against Rhino. Tell them about New Era Wrestling as we keep going.
Yeah, so typically we run one Saturday a month in Jasper at the Swan Gym. And you can check out their Facebook page, New Era Wrestling Alabama. We have another show on March the 8th, the Saturday before Crimson Clash. And those matches are being announced now. I think usually
I saw you tweeted you're an opponent on that card, correct?
Yeah. Me and Bubba Cagle are tagging against Brandon Watley and Cade Newton. Brandon Watley and Cade Newton are multi-time champs. They kind of hail from Pro South Wrestling, but they're coming down. They got sideways with Bubba and I during our Resolution Rumble in January.
Well, we can't allow that.
No, not at all. So we're excited about that. I'm going to be trying to make it. I won the Resolution Rumble. I was entrant number 1, 20 men over the top rope.
Iron Man.
Just like you see WWE's Royal Rumble, same type setup. So I'm the number 1 contender for the New Era Openweight title. So I think on that show, I'm going to try to make an announcement about when and where I'm going to claim that title opportunity. So, but yeah, check out New Era Wrestling on Facebook. That's probably the best place. They're on Instagram and Twitter under the same name as well. But usually all the announcements kind of run through there.
And I just follow them, and I'll be retweeting their content, getting closer to this show. March 16th, the Crimson Clash, right here at the Buddy Powell Pavilion. Tell us about who is the Alpha Alexander Lincoln. Obviously, everybody's got. Tell us who is he? Why should we care about the Alpha Alexander Lincoln? Why are we cheering for him?
Sure. Well, we didn't. The Alpha really. They say in pro wrestling.
Yeah.
Pro wrestling, your character.
Sorry.
Who you are is really who you really are. Kind of like ramped up to 10. Stone Cold Steve Austin says that. Like Stone Cold. That's who he really is. Dialed all the way up.
Oh yeah.
And so
what?
That was a hard thing for me to figure out, because when I got into pro wrestling, who was a 35-year-old dad in the real estate business. That's what I was. And so I really try to dig into who I am, and really who I am ultimately is, I'm a provider, I'm a protector, of my family. And then also, I don't know if anybody, any of your listeners can relate, but I'm also kind of the problem solver in my family. When someone's got, and I'm not talking about just in my house, I'm talking about everywhere, and, I tend to be the one that people come to, for help, for advice, for lots of different things. And so that thought process just kind of molded into, how can I take these things about who I really am and portray that in the ring? And that was where the Alpha Alexander Lincoln was really born. I was Alexander Lincoln in the ring before all this, but that's kind of, when I get into that ring, that's my belief, is that I am the Alpha, not just because of what I can do in the wrestling ring, but because of what I do in my life and the way I handle my business and the way I take care of things, the way I manage situations, the way I handle, stress and all the things that come along with life. That was really the genesis of it. And so it's ever evolving, it's always changing, but I really felt like if I was going to hang my hat on something, that was going to be what I was going to be when I get in the ring. And so that ring gives me the opportunity to take all the things that you deal with in life and it manifests in a physical way. And we try to tell a really great story at the same time. So
we love that. I love that. Oh, tell me. All right, the genesis of the Lincoln Law. That's our finisher here. I've seen it a couple of times in the matches that you sent to me. Where did we think? Okay, this is going to be my finisher, and what do you like about it?
Yeah, so I like one of the things about it is I'm a tall guy, and so if anybody's listening or knows, it's really like if you watch The Big Boss Man in the 80s and early 90s, it's the Boss Man Slam. If you watched Abyss in TNA, it's called the Black Hole Slam. And so really it's just something where I'm able to use your own momentum against you. I'm really tall. And so if I can get my arms around you and get your feet off the ground, we're going to take a ride. We're going to spin, and I'm going to come down on top of you with all that I have. And so it's a way for me to be able to utilize my size, my weight, and to take your own momentum, and use it against you is the way I would describe it.
And you're looking up at the lights, Mason. 1, 2, 3, you're out.
Yeah, I probably would be. I don't know. I grew up a very large wrestling fan, have more recently gotten back into it and have been, consuming any bit of wrestling content I can find. And, I would die just about any bump you tried to ask me to take. It looks to be maybe like a clothesline would be potentially the easiest but no, I'm out. You're going to take me down.
What is, okay, we've been in it since 21. Everyone thinks the terrible thoughts. What's the worst injury? What's the worst bump that you've had? You talked about the last man standing. You talked about a casket match. Both of those are known to be gruesome matches. What do you think is the hardest bump you've had to take so far?
The hardest bump I've ever had to take was in that casket match. I wrestled the Prophet brother Azrael, and he comes from Georgia. Az lives around Atlanta, I think, but he's a regular at Pro South, and he's at New Era a lot, and he's exceptional. He's great in the ring. He's tough, and we had a little rivalry that led to that. But anyways, Az gave me the vertical suplex on the gym floor.
Oh,
that was I had not had that experience before, and it was that was one where it was like, okay, I don't know.
How do you like prepare? Is it before the match? He just says you, hey man, like here's what we're kind of rolling with. Is it, days leading up, you're kind of running through it a little bit, trying to get a feel?
Not really. I would say mostly day of, kind of stuff. I'm not one that's gonna, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm not going to tell tales outside of school necessarily. I think that there is it's kind of like, you don't, when you go to the movies, right, to see a movie, you don't really care how the movie, you know what I'm saying? You don't care about a lot of the details about where did they film this? You want to go and you want to be entertained and get that experience. And that's really what I'm all about. A lot of the guys that we wrestle kind of in our little world right now, I've either wrestled them once or somebody, or I've seen them wrestle a lot. And so it's kind of, what they do, what they want to do. And just like scouting report in basketball or football, right? I know when I see this, then I need to be looking for this or whatever. So that was probably the worst bump I've taken. The injury. So I think in my third match, I took a power slam from Cowboy Dustin and got up, and my right shoulder was feeling weird. And then after the match, it just kind of got worse and worse. And then I woke up the next morning, and it was, it got like 20% better, but stopped getting better. And so I went to where my office is, a chiropractor right across the street. So I usually just he's my first stop. He's got an X-ray. And he's like, "Yeah, your shoulder's partially dislocated."
No,
I was like, "Really?" So that's really the only like serious injury per se. It wasn't that serious. We got that addressed and got treatment on it. So that's what I do try to do. Again, I'm 40, and there's not a lot of guys my age, doing this kind of stuff, or at least start. Most of the guys that are my age have been doing it for 15, 20, since they were very young. And so I try to train my body and stretch and do all the proper stuff to, prepare myself before and after.
I think, that's something that maybe people, bit of misconception, especially with like the independent scene, just how much goes into it, how much work and how much preparation goes in. People maybe, you see that, you might not see it's a giant arena filled with people and you just kind of think, oh, these guys are just kind of having fun. But like, it really is. There's a lot of dedication that goes into it. I would imagine
it's taken very seriously, because, first and foremost, everybody's going out there and sacrificing their body to entertain people. And because we love it, because it's fun, and because for some they have hopes of going beyond what we're doing just in the independent scene. But yeah, and there's a lot of respect between the competitors. Everybody, we're constantly giving each other feedback. But hey, you did this, hey, you did that, whatever. And so it really reminds me of high school football in a lot of ways. The fraternity, the fellowship, the brotherhood, kind of of that. It's just it's hard to explain unless you've done it type situation.
Going on the high school football, let's talk about the rest of the New Era roster. Yeah. We're going to be here at the Crimson Clash, March 16th. It's going to be the Alpha Alexander Lincoln against Rhino, but that's not going to be the only match on the card, is it? Who else are we going to be featuring in New Era Wrestling?
Sure, good question. There's going to be more matches being announced soon, but I can tell you for sure, Mr. 1985 Bubba Cagle will be there. He's a Walker County native, and everybody knows him over there. The King of the South, Ace Haven. Ace has been running his own show at Pro South in Piedmont for, I think, 16 years. They stream every Friday. Ace is going to be there. Brandon Watley, the Serpent Dragon, Brandon Watley will be there, and he's a master of kicks. He will kick you, and it hurts. And he has nunchucks, which he's hit me with his nunchucks before. So those are some of the names that will be there. I think my own brother Joe Wood, I think, is going to be on the card.
Are we taking it? Is he going to be protection from Rhino?
He'll probably just kind of stay away.
Yeah, we need it.
I would think. We had our beef. I think I wouldn't say we've reconciled yet, but we've moved past things. So we're kind of doing our own thing.
Taking some time apart.
Yeah, that's a fair way to say it. And there'll be some more. I believe we're going to have Justin McKenzie on that card. Justin is a young guy who started at Pro South, and he's started making a name for himself. He's got a great look. He's got athleticism. He's young. He just recently jumped off the top of a cage at Pro South, and it was really cool.
Oh, how we feel about jumping off high things? We saw recently at Survivor Series Bronson Reed jumping off the top of the cage, breaking his ankle. How do we feel about jumping off top thing?
I don't think you're going to see me jump off the top of the cage. I think I'm not opposed to doing something a little out there, but it's going to have to be the right opponent and the right situation. For me to do something like that. But we have other guys that do that stuff, and they do it really well.
Absolutely.
Just let them handle it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, these shows up there in Jasper, and then when you come here to Tuscaloosa, let's talk about the crowd. I mean, I watched them on YouTube. They are right there. I mean, you can go pat on the wrestler's back if you really wanted to. What's the relationship like for you with the crowd at these events? I mean, I think it's fascinating. It looks awesome.
No, it's great. In Walker County. Sorry.
No, you can. Hey, that thing moves. You can bring it to. You can move it as float. You can
I
get
haven't made
comfortable.
internet.
Yeah, perfect. Drag that thing wherever you want to. Yes, exactly. Perfect. We love that.
I love Walker County.
Perfect.
And I love the people in Walker County. Not an experience I'd had before I started there, but they love pro wrestling. They show up. They're very vocal, and I love it. You know, it's great. They really buy into our product, buy into what we're doing. They're consistent, and so what helps is when you're consistent, when your crowd's consistent, they know what stories are going on, and so they get to know the characters, and that's what I tell anybody that is on the fence about pro wrestling, because a lot of people, I see this a lot, and I want to get this out there. Like a lot of folks, I started watching wrestling in the late 90s, early 2000s, and it was a different product than what is on today. And I feel like a lot of people my age that have young kids, that's the idea that they have about what pro wrestling is today. And that's really not at all what it is. It's changed significantly. And at New Era, we do have a family friendly wrestling product. I mean, we're wrestling, so there's that. I don't know, if you want to say that's violence, but, we're a family friendly product.
Not going to find maybe the risque content from the late 90s.
Correct.
None of that ECW stuff.
No. We look, you might see a steel chair fly around or something. You're going to see some action in the ring, but that's kind of as far as that kind of thing goes. We want to have a family friendly product. We want you to bring your kids. We want them to see the wrestlers, and we want to talk to the fans after the show or after the matches. We want to be able to interact and have all that. So I'm hoping that in Tuscaloosa, because let's be honest there are a lot of wrestling fans out there that are closet wrestling fans.
Oh yeah.
Because, if you watch WWE, there's a lot, those arenas are sold out.
Oh yeah.
They're full everywhere they go. And if you look at cable TV ratings and all that stuff, they're at the very top all the time. There's a lot of people watching. There's a lot of people going. And so, I'm trying to give people in Tuscaloosa, like, this is your chance. I'm looking at, come out of the closet, come to the show, and you're going to, meet like-minded people. Bring the kids. They're going to love it. It's going to be a great time. We live in such a digital world that we're sometimes I feel like we don't have enough things to get out and go and do as a family. And this is something that is affordable and it's fun. And I hope that we have a good turnout so we can keep doing it here.
You mentioned affordability. The event the doors open at 3. The event starts at 4. Tell everybody how they can get tickets to the Crimson Clash, March 16th, New Era Wrestling.
There are some ringside left, and I think those are $25.
You can't beat that.
And I believe second row's 20, and then we will have general admission available, and basically that's like bring your own chair type thing. But those are $15 you can get in. Now we do have, if you're feeling like it, VIP packages available, $40, and that's going to get you a picture in the ring with a championship belt.
That's what we're talking about, right?
Autograph poster. A lot of people like to get in that ring. That the feeling of being in there is kind of neat. So there's some of those left. Those were some of the first. The VIPs started selling fast. I think there's a few hanging out there. So we're excited. The pre-sales have been good.
Good.
I've learned in pro wrestling that you sell most of your tickets the day of the walk up day of the show. So I think it's going to be a really good venue. It's covered. They've got heaters in the pavilion if it's needed. You never know around here this time.
Gosh, it'll be 70 one day and 30 the next.
Right. So I think it's going to be a great event. It's Sunday. It's the day. This was all built around Rhino's schedule, I think. So it's the day that spring break. It's the Sunday before kids go back from spring break. So we're hoping a lot of people are back and can spare a couple hours on Sunday to come to the show.
Well, my Sundays are go to church, and then what am I going to do the rest of the day? Sounds like a perfect day to, go head over to Buddy Powell Pavilion, check out New Era Wrestling, and support local talent who's putting on a great show.
I've had great support from Tuscaloosa and Northport the last 6 or 8 months.
Good.
Really, really great support. So I'm hoping that stays the same and maybe more people come that aren't willing to. It takes an hour to drive to Jasper. It's not a big deal. You know what I mean? Like, it's no big deal.
No.
And I'll say this. Anytime somebody's come for the first time, no one's ever left disappointed. You can laugh at us, you can yell at us, you can cheer for us. I don't care. We want a reaction, whatever that is. As long as it's not quiet, that you've gotten some emotional reaction for what you paid for a ticket, then it's cool.
Mason, that's what I love. I went over to Raw in Nashville and Atlanta the last month or whatever. And we've talked about heckling. You told your story about John Petty getting in John Petty's face.
Well,
and it just
John Petty getting in my face.
Oh well, yeah. It just allows me to put that 12-year-old back on. I'm in the stands yelling at the fans, rah, 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 and I just for a couple hours be a kid again.
Right. Absolutely. It's again, I always say, for some reason I feel like pro wrestling gets treated differently than, say, for example, like other television shows. You know what I mean? Like, it's the same as watching an episode of.
Exactly.
I always say, like an episode of like Law and Order. I was explaining, I think, to a friend, I was like, you've got a good guy and you've got a bad guy and you've got a story. Now, when that bad guy, leaves the set, people don't think that he's a real bad guy.
Sure.
But, you can have, people in pro wrestling that, that stick to you. I'm not a jerk about, I can't believe they said that on television. They're doing that. They're doing these things. Like, it's just like going to the movies. Go in, unplug, and just suspend reality and enjoy the show.
That's what's so much fun. People, you get hit with the negativity, and you're like, well, isn't everything you watch on TV a little bit orchestrated?
Right.
A little bit.
Yeah.
So like it's the same thing. I had a question, Mason. It just lost me. With the show that's coming up, I'll just reset. With the show that's coming up, you got New Era Wrestling coming up. Crimson Classic is coming March 16th. The doors open at 3 and the show starts at 4. There, that it came to me. Thank you. You were talking about the guy leaving the set, and they don't associate that character. You were talking about bad guys. Oh, is he still a bad guy? Well, I'm getting the impression the Alpha Alexander Lincoln. Oh, he's a good guy. He's a great guy. Are we carrying that? How? What ways are we carrying the kayfabe into real life?
Yeah, no. So I think it's a representation of who I really am. I want to be known for someone that does what's right. I'm not but someone that's also not perfect and has made mistakes, and I've made many mistakes in the ring. That cost me. I want to be seen as someone that, that works hard, that grinds, that is not afraid to claw up from the bottom. All those things that I feel like I've done in my real life, in my personal life, through, all the things that we go through in life, stress and challenges and all those things. I want to be seen that way. And that's really a way that I think it gets to come out in that ring. It gets to be, it is, some people laugh at this statement, but it's my art form. It's performance art, to me. I get to, what am I carrying with me that day? What is going on with me, and how can I allow that to manifest in the ring, in a physical way, and tell a story. So,
Mason, you got anything else for us today?
I don't think so.
I'm assuming y'all bought your tickets for Crimson Clash.
Oh, absolutely. It's in my back pocket, 100%. I was going to ask you as we close if you wanted to cut a promo on the audience or on Rhino or on anybody about the event. I mean, whatever I just wanted to open the floor to you to kind of close us down.
I would say to Rhino, I would say, I respect Rhino so much, and there's so much about my childhood that was born during those days of watching Rhino and Sandman and Tommy Dreamer and those guys in ECW, because that was the genesis of me and my brother and all of our friends growing up, beating the crap out of each other in the backyard, and really those moments that we had growing up, those, the stories that we still tell today about the time that, I awesome bombed somebody onto the porch or whatever, all these things that happened were born out of that time period. And so to be able to get into the ring and look across and see him there, it's a great honor, and I have tremendous respect. I will say, right here, right now on the couch is one thing. I will say, when that bell rings, I'm going to lock eyes with Rhino, and he will understand two things. There can be only one, and there's only one Alpha, and he's going to find that out. And I think he's going to be surprised, and I think everybody else is going to be surprised at the way it turns out.
And that man is the Alpha, Alexander Lincoln, wrestling at the Crimson Clash. You can see New Era Wrestling on YouTube, but you can see it right here in Tuscaloosa, March 16th. Make sure you get your tickets. We're going to be including links to the tickets and all our socials today and on the show article that we usually put out as well. Man, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm looking forward to the event. Who cares about Elimination Chamber on Saturday? It's going to be Crimson Clash right here in town. Easy access to get to some pro wrestling. So I encourage all you guys to join me out there. We'll be talking about it over the next month or so as we get closer and closer to the event. Alexander, thank you so much. Mr. Lincoln, I mean, I feel like a presidential Lincoln. Thank you so much for joining us here. Absolutely. This has been the Joe Gaither Show inside the Derek Daniels State Farm Studios. We will be back tomorrow at 8 a.m. on all your social media machines, Joe Gaither 6. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon, the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central, and on the Bama Central YouTube channel right there, Bama Central and BamaCentral.com.
Thanks for joining us on today's edition of the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central. Keep up with Joe on all his social media pages at Joe Gaither 6. Subscribe, rate, and review the show on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and be sure to read us daily at BamaCentral.com.